actor. We played some clips. The French Connection, he won his first Academy Award for Best Actor. Detective Papadol. The Conversation, 74. Superman, 78. Hoosiers, 86. Mississippi Burning, 1988. Unforgiven, 92. The Firm, 93. Crimson Tide, 95. Enemy of the State, 1998. I mean, it just goes on and on. But an absolute dude as an actor, and RIP to Gene Hackman. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We've got Steve Robertson joining us on the show.
Ooh, baby.
Hail State Insider, Gene's Page, 247 Sports.
Ooh, baby.
He's on his way to Houston, Texas to watch Mississippi State baseball. They'll take on Rice tomorrow morning at 11:05, so people are going to have their mind right for Friday lunch to watch Hail State baseball and Pico Khan on Friday against Rice. They're coming off a tough loss, Steve, on Tuesday night against Troy, 20 punch-outs, and couldn't win the game. What's wrong with the Dogs at the plate?
Well, it's interesting you say that. They've had double-digit hits in 3 straight games, and in that game, I mean, they had a couple of clutch hits, but there were plenty of opportunities early in that game for State to kind of, take control of plenty of traffic on the bases. And, you get down 5-0, and then Sullivan hits a grand slam. Reese comes back up, ties the game, and you think, okay, this is going to happen. And State had opportunities in the 8th and the 9th, but just couldn't get the one big hit. And, that's, I think the issue is, they're hitting the baseball, but they've got to be able to bunch things together. I mean, how many times do you see that? I mean, you get a couple runners on and you don't score, and that's not just Germaine or Mississippi State, but in that ball game, there were plenty of opportunities, and Mississippi State just didn't take advantage. But usually when you get 20 strikeouts and 13 hits, you typically win games.
Right. I'd love to know the stat on that. Just college baseball the last 10 years. 20 punch-outs, 13 hits. How many times has a team lost, Steve?
I think it's a great question. And it's so interesting, too. It's like we talk about this all the time, and I think sometimes casual fans miss this, but every pitch matters. I mean, it's not like, you get to the 8th and 9th, it's magnified because you're running out of time. But, there were opportunities, Jacob Pruitt was cruising, right? I mean, and then all of a sudden, you give up another solo shot to Shane Lewis, and you're dominating their lineup. I think you got 9-10 strikeouts, and you've given up 2 hits, and you're down 2-0. And so the offense has got to carry their part of the deal too. And you had the one bad inning with Schneur, but making his Bulldog debut against a top 25 opponent, and you sign those guys to play them. It's like sometimes I think people think we should bring Landon Sims back and let him pitch every game. It just didn't work that way. You're trying to figure out who you can trust at this point and who can get you ready to go in SEC play.
Yeah. Is it time to panic?
No, come on. It's 6-2, 8 games into the year. No, and the 2 losses are the top 25 opponents, and so it's not like you lost to Central Arkansas, but the Bulldogs need a good weekend. So, that's the thing you got to think about. It's like this weekend could be big for State. I mean, you go down there and you get 2 or 3 wins, preferably 3. Everybody kind of forgets about the rest of it. But you go down there and just win one game, and all of a sudden, the naysayers are out, and you got to contend with that the rest of the year.
I don't see it's early, but the team's not playing with an edge. This game has got to be played. You look at Tony Vitello, and you look at the way that Tanner Allen, Rowdy Mangum, Adam Frazier. I mean, they just went on. Cohen was the one that really drilled down and made this program tough as nails and tough as hell. It had gotten soft and beyond soft, and Pillsbury Doughboy soft. But anyway, and so you went through this run of just tough dudes in the field and on the mound. The pitching is doing what they need to do. They can't play scared, and they're going to have some guys play with an edge and the toughness component. Where's that going to come from?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I think you're starting to see some of that with Ace Reese a little bit. He has 5 hits in the last 3 games. He hit the first home run of the year, then he kind of went in the shell a little bit, but you're starting to see him kind of find some barrels. I think he's going to be fine. You know, Noah Sullivan, of course, probably State's most consistent hitter. He and Bryce Chance lead the team with 10 hits apiece, and yeah, you need Hunter Hines to get going. I mean, you really do. I mean, Hunter Hines coming back was a bit of a bonus for Mississippi State, and you know, we talked about it the other day. I mean, he didn't hit his first home run last year to Game 15 against Evansville. He's already got a couple, but you know, really tough night at the park on Tuesday. It's some big moments. You know, it was his opportunity to extend the innings and kind of get big hits and push State ahead, and he didn't come through. But I got a lot of faith in Hunter. But you know, he's got to figure it out. You know, and you signed Reed Stallman thinking Hines wasn't going to be back. You know, and I'm not coaching the team, but if I were, I may give Hunter a day off, just kind of think about it and put Stallman in there.
Agree.
And just not that I'm done with Hunter Hines, but
no.
You know, sometimes guys need a bit of a mental and a physical reset. And I'm sure Hunter doesn't want to sit. He'll tell you that he's a competitor, but you know, sometimes you got to do what's best for the team. And maybe
no, all
helps.
the time. You know this. All the time you got to do what's best for the team, right?
Absolutely. And if that means dropping him to 7th or 8th in the order and maybe getting him some better pitches to hit, you know, maybe that's the deal. But you know, but the reality of it is if Mississippi State wants to get to Omaha, Hunter Hines is going to have to do damage this year for sure.
All right. You mentioned Jacob Pruitt. That was good to see for Mississippi State. Just a phenomenal pitcher from Indiana State. Steve, I'm not, you know, he did some really, really good things the other night. And if they need another option on the weekend at some point, he may be it looks like he'll get the first call. Of course, I'd like to see Charlie Foster get another shot at it because of his talent. But what was your takeaway from Jacob Pruitt, the transfer from Indiana State?
Well, you signed him hoping he'd be a weekend guy, right? And then he had a really good fall. He was a little bit up and down in the spring. And then, of course, his first outing left a lot to be desired. But, you know, the guy you saw Tuesday night was the guy that Mississippi State envisioned when they signed him. And I think every single guy that you take as a pitcher, you hope at some point that they are a weekend guy, you know. And so you groom everybody with that in mind. And so you begin to think about, okay, and you can even go back and look at 2021, right? And so you start out with Sarantola on Sundays, and you end up going with Jackson Fristow and eventually Houston Harding. So, you know, none of this is etched in stone. And so you bring Pruitt along, you bring Foster along, and then if you need to make a change on the weekend, you've already got guys that have some seasoning under their belt. So I think in that respect, State is in a good place. There have been some times historically where, you know, you have a couple guys on the weekend and really nobody to pitch on Sunday, and you had to do it by committee, and that's happened even in recent years. And so I think Pruitt's outing on Tuesday was a step in the right direction. I think there's a good chance you see him on Tuesday against Southern Miss, who he dominated last year.
I saw that.
Yeah, I don't think you run Foster out there again next week against them. I think there's a good chance Charlie pitches this weekend in some capacity. But, yeah, I think you run Pruitt back out there next Tuesday, and then as you get into SEC play, you know, instead of you having to kind of figure this thing out, I think you're already preparing for that possibility by bringing him along as maybe a Tuesday starter.
Okay, Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. He's headed to Houston, Texas for the Astros Foundation College Classic, and MSU will play Rice tomorrow early. So you need to go ahead and make your plans to be at whatever bar and restaurant you want to be at. Rice. Oh, by the way, do you know anything, Steve, about these games on TV? Or people going to have to subscribe to something? Or
I'm so glad you asked, because I was going to try to make that point before we got out of here. It's not going to be on the ESPN app, and I put that in every article I've written the last couple of days just to prepare people, because it's out of habit people just go to the ESPN app. This is going to be streamed on Astros.com and on the Houston Astros YouTube channel. And so, yes, you're going to have access to that. No subscription required.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, so I think that's a big part of it. We got to get that news out there, because you know what's going to happen. My Twitter mentions and your Twitter mentions tomorrow around 11:10 are going to all be about, hey, where can I watch the game? So it's important to get that news out now. Astros.com or the Houston Astros YouTube channel.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, Steve Robertson is going he goes to all the games. And nobody covers MSU baseball like Steve. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And this hit is brought to you by Older Brother Bistro in Starkville and their amazing Reuben and Muffaletta sandwiches, and then the wings and street tacos at Two Brothers. So if you're going to the LSU game this weekend, you know where to go. Pre and post game. Also, Crystal Sky Casino in Louisville, Mississippi, right off Highway 25. All right, Steve, let's run through this. I don't want to go too in depth, but give me a little 30,000 feet on Rice.
Well, they lost last night to Arizona, and I actually interviewed Jose Cruz Jr., and our subscribers can read that piece this morning. And just, not just about, the game with Mississippi State, but just kind of like his path and that sort of stuff. And, what took him back to Rice. And, he's a guy that loves Rice. He loves Houston, Texas. And I joked with him a little bit. We asked about his dad, and I said, he's telling me kind of what his dad's up to. I said, hey, man, does he still have that leg tuck? He goes, oh, you better believe it, So
love it.
But, yeah, so Rice State's going to see their best starter. And matter of fact, he may be their only bona fide starter. And Cruz kind of said that, hey, we're going to throw Hickson on Friday, and then we'll kind of figure it out as we go. And their bullpen has not been good. Now, Hickson has been really good in both of his starts. He led them last year in both appearances and saves. He's promoted to the weekend. He is the Friday night guy. He's allowed one run in his 2 outings so far. And the first one was against Villanova and last week against USC. Control has been a bit of a problem. He's more of a ride and slide guy. There's a lot of, verticality with his fastball. So he throws that four-seamer in a similar manner to maybe what Landon did, right? I mean, you throw the rising fastball, you throw the slider. He'll work in a two-seamer every now and again. And the change is just kind of a show pony, right? He'll throw it just to kind of keep you off balance and know that he's got it in the toolbox. But, I think once you get through him, and I feel confident that State will, and you get into that bullpen, it could probably get away from them. So State needs a good performance from Pico, but I think it'll be a pitching duel maybe the first 4 innings, and then I think State will make a move. And, of course, that won't help the fans on social media. I mean, 2 innings into this thing, they're going to be like, oh, my gosh, But, you're going to see a bona fide Friday night starter. But they're a team that has struggled at times offensively. They hadn't scored double-digit runs at all this year, but in their defense, they hadn't played a cupcake game yet either. And Jose said as much, even the win over Sam Houston State in the midweek. I mean, that's a team that's been a pretty solid mid-major, when Matt Deggs was there. But, they got a couple of guys that got a little pop. Motley is a guy that has gotten hot here as of late. I believe he went 4 for 5 last night. So that's a bat to watch. And they had a freshman, walk it off against USC on Sunday. Here's the thing, too. The thing you ask yourself is a school like Rice, when you look at their tradition, people forget they won the national championship in 2003. You had Lance Berkman. Of course, you had Jose Cruz Jr., and Matt Anderson. You had a lot of players that went there. I think college baseball needs Rice to be good. And I think that they bring something to the American Athletic, and I think the ECU needs Rice to be good too, Of course, it helps to have your AD on the Division I Selection Baseball Committee that even when you don't deserve it, you get, benefit of the doubt. But I think that's
is the committee nothing but mid-majors? I mean, it's Jeremy McLean's now on it. You just told me the Rice guy's on it. Last year, the East Carolina guy hosted Mississippi State, and his compadres, the Army AD and somebody else.
You had Strickland, of course,
right?
In Florida,
but he got named late, and he walked in. Even though they were good, they were 26 and 26, so he had to fight his tail off just to get his team in. So you know how that went. That was brokered. You get in, and we get to decide this. If Florida was 38 and 23, State gets in. But man, that thing is loaded up with mid majors. I don't understand that.
It's not the Rice AD. I was kind of referencing the ECU AD, but
oh yeah, well I'm not happy with him.
Yeah, well
they deserve to get knocked out early.
No doubt about it. And the fact that it was Evansville made it even a little sweeter.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But sometimes the poetry just kind of writes itself in reality, But,
right.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a team that they're going to be around 500. I mean, they have 61 and 119, I think, in and Jose Cruz's 3 years there. And listen, and Rice baseball was broken when he got there. Last year is the best year of his tenure, so they're trending in the right direction. And you know, be patient with him because he is one of their own. But I mean, it's interesting that State draws them in game 1. I think if State draws them in game 3 this weekend, it's probably a mercy rule type thing. And so you're going to get them first. And then they're going to get a chance to play Tennessee and Texas A&M with not really bona fide weekend guys, you know. So I think Rice's best, they probably feel like their best chance to win a ball game is tomorrow. And so they're throwing their best guy, keeping him on schedule. But, I think it could be a long weekend for them. So.
Yeah. All right. Steve Robertson, the Boneyard Podcast, Gene's Page, 247 Sports. He's on his way to Houston for the Astros College something. Let's see, I had that up here in just a second. The Foundation College Classic, the Astros Foundation College Classic. Should have a good group out there with all the alums that have been going out there since 1960, the last 6-7 decades. You're probably going to have a pretty good group out there raising some hell in the ballpark because the Mississippi State Houston alumni base is strong and solid, Steve.
It is. It's one of the largest out-of-state alumni groups in Mississippi, in the Mississippi State family. And a lot of that, of course, is all those engineering jobs and, you know, whether it be aerospace or petroleum. And there's a lot of great Bulldogs out there in Houston. And I'm glad we can take the show on the road and have an opportunity to go out there and celebrate with those folks. They're going to have some big alumni events, and you can go to the Mississippi State alumni page, and they'll have a list of kind of what's going on. And,
oh, cool.
And it's not just we're going to have a ball game. They're going to have a chance for everybody to kind of get together and kind of tailgate together and just recreate. And those are all good things. But it's a long way out there. But that whole southeast quadrant of Texas has been really good to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people, of course, it was hoping we'd go out there for a bowl game a couple of years ago. They were really kind of keeping their fingers crossed and. Ultimately State, goes elsewhere. But, I'm glad that we're getting a chance to go out there. And also, too, for the players. I mean, a chance to go play, at Astros ballpark. I mean,
sure.
To go play in a big league ballpark is a cool experience. And, at the end of the day, State needs to go win a game. It doesn't matter if we're playing, at a municipal park or a Major League Baseball stadium. I mean, every game matters, and State needs to go put a good weekend together.
That's right. All right. How Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds Show and the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. How important is the home game against LSU for Chris Jans and the players in the program?
Well, I think you're safely in the tournament, but man, you don't want to look up at the end of the year and head into the SEC tournament, on a 5-game losing streak, right? I mean, and LSU has actually gotten better, but they haven't really been good on the road. You need to go win this game. And, latest prognostications have State as like a 5 or a 6 seed. And, so you feel good about where they stand, but you can ill afford to just go 0 for the rest of the way and then expect to get in the tournament. You know what I mean? And there's some people out there, there's something to worry about. There is always something to worry about when you've lost 2 in a row and then you've got a team coming in that's hungry, that understands that they're playing for next year. State's going to have to bring a good game, and you got to beat LSU. And then, we'll see. They need to beat. I think the LSU and Texas. I think you feel good about those. The tripped up Bud Walton is never a walk in the park.
Yeah.
And then, now Calipari's got those guys playing a little bit better. Emotional senior night type deal. It's tough to count that one right now, but you got to focus on LSU. And I think if you get LSU and Texas, I think you kind of solidify where you are, no matter what happens the rest of the way in the SEC tournament.
Okay. All right. I think both teams need to show some toughness and resiliency. Baseball and basketball. What's the best team in the tournament out there in Houston? Who's the best team?
That's got to be Tennessee, I would think. And I know Texas A&M is ranked number 1, but when you talk about heavy as the head, right, that wears the crown, they get beat by Texas State. They got beat by Cal Poly. And, it's a first-year head coach. That's one of the things we've talked about, me and some of my friends in college baseball media, is loaded as this A&M lineup is. It's almost a pressure building opportunity. Michael Early, it's his first time to be a head coach, and then you're given the keys to a Ferrari and say, hey, just get us a container of milk and come on back, right? And you don't even know if he can drive,
right?
So, and then to lose that game with Texas State, and there are some people out there that say, well, midweeks don't matter. That's not true.
They do,
because midweeks kept Mississippi State from hosting last year. So don't sit there and tell me they don't matter. And to lose, I think they've lost 2 in a row now. And but this Tennessee offense, and really Tony Vitello's just his whole hitting system, and I've had a chance to visit with Tony. I'll tell you, the thing that I love about Tony Vitello is he just exudes confidence. Like, even sitting there talking to him, it makes you want to go grab a bat and hit a home run. I mean, he has that alpha dog type mentality. And people, I don't like the way they play. Well, I love the way they play because they win, right? And you have to play with an edge. And I'd rather be hated anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, I remember those years, like, when, and I say this all the time, I love it when Mississippi State baseball is feared. And you can see it right on social media, like when State's getting ready to go in there and you expect State to win the series and all these people are chirping about what used to happen, that sort of stuff. There's this mystique around Tennessee right now. And even before they won the national championship, it's like, hey, these are the Oakland Raiders of college baseball. I'm not saying that I want State out there doing bad flips and, flipping people off in the stands and things like that. But between the lines, those guys right now are doing it better than anybody. And I think if you're Rice and having to deal with those guys in game 2, and you don't even know who you're going to pitch, it could be a long day.
Woo! Holy moly. Tony Vitello. He is, he's the dude in college baseball now. Enjoy your trip. We'll talk soon.
See you, bud. Steve
Robertson, Gene's Page 247 Sports. He joined us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. That interview was brought to you by Crystal Sky Casino in Louisville, Mississippi, 3 minutes off Highway 25. When you're going up for the LSU game this weekend, 150 slot machines and a sports book. Crystal Sky Casino, Louisville, Mississippi, on the way back from Starkville. Also brought to you by, let's give a shout out to Big E's Steakhouse in Starkville. And Valteo Tequila. Had a great time at Dak Prescott's party, Super Bowl week. And Valteo Tequila has hit the market. Guess what, Jackson? Briarwood Wine and Spirits has it. Briarwood Wine and Spirits on Old Canton Road has Valteo Reposado Tequila, 100% additive free in blue agave.
Say, kids, what time is it?
It's 9 a.m., and this ain't okay show. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
All aboard!
As Mississippi's #1 morning show rolls on the Zone 105.9 and online at thezone1059.com.
All right, let's do this. Good morning. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. And
Ooh, baby.
Straight Funk with me. He's been betting on ping pong again. Told me he took 14 games 2 nights ago. The Czech Republic giveth, and the Czech Republic ping pong taketh away. But
guess what? Texas still sucks.
Anyway, Straight Funk still gambling on ping pong in the Czech Republic, which means that the world is going to be okay. That and Elon Musk slashing the federal government to the bone, which is just beautiful and delicious. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're brought to you by Crystal Sky Casino in Louisville, Mississippi. Pearl River Resort. Book your stay and play now. Look at the weather, award-winning golf courses, the Azaleas and the Oaks at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. And then Philip M's, I've told you about the new chef there. Just, it's not new now. It's almost 3 years. But they're on point with the saffron chowder and the steaks and the seafood. The bar is super cool. And then the sports book inside the Golden Moon Casino is the Timeout Sports Lounge. Book your stay and play. Enjoy college basketball, college baseball. The big dance is around the corner. All the conference tournaments. Book your stay and play at Pearl River Resort right now, dancingrabbitgolf.com. A couple of different ways that you can get in touch with the show. Mac Hike Auto Group text line, 601-885-3776. Would love to hear from you today. Twitter X at Bo Bounds. And the Key City Beer Caller line, 601-885-3776. I'll give you an update. Sal and Mookie's in Madison has Key City on, they have Mississippi Queen, which is awesome. Northport Coffee Shop, the new one in Eastover District, they have Mississippi Queen on tap. So Key City's just amazing beer. It's local. It's out of Vicksburg. Key City, out of Vicksburg. Mi Vida will be full-time, not seasonal anymore. That's their Mexican cerveza, and it is delicious. Death on two legs. They've got it all. The Curse is amazing. Game day beers brought to you by Key City out of Vicksburg, Mississippi. And their restaurant and bar over there is cool, too. All right. So last night we had a party, and Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue catered for 30 of us at our clubhouse at the neighborhood lake where I live in the clubhouse. It was great. And do they do amazing blue plates and onion rings and smash burgers and all that? Absolutely. Every day. Their nachos are awesome. They smoke all their barbecue, the brisket and all that on site. And Burgers, Blues, Barbecue in Madison, Dogwood, Flowwood, and Brandon. But they have done upscale weddings, upscale corporate events. Their chef's amazing. They did a lump crab meat crab cake with white remoulade sauce and lemon for us as an appetizer last night. Now, you can screw up a crab cake in a red-hot minute. It was unbelievable, and these are guys that have been lots of different places and enjoyed a lot of good food. But Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue, B3, their menu for us last night, lump crab meat crab cakes with white remoulade sauce and lemon was excellent, cooked perfectly. The entree was Akashi Wagyu burger with sharp white cheddar, green onion, aioli, which was fine, arugula, which I love, and heirloom tomato. I'm telling y'all, the Akashi Wagyu burger was one of the best burgers I've ever had. It looked like a thick ribeye steak. This is from Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. They will create, look, I mean, they've done steak and lobster. They've done surf and turf for people on site for corporate events. Again, their blue plates and smash burgers, everyday menu are great, but they can jazz it up. And for dessert, we had bread pudding bites with whiskey caramel sauce, and it was insanity. So lump crab meat crab cakes with white remoulade sauce and lemon, app. Akashi Wagyu burger with sharp white cheddar and green onion aioli and arugula and heirloom tomato was fine. And dessert was bread pudding bites with whiskey caramel sauce. Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. They brought their food truck out, cooked it on site. It was, I mean, the guys just lined up for all three runs. So, I mean, it was super fresh, super hot. It's awesome.
So, I mean, we're talking about the definition of a party.
It was a party.
I mean, that is.
We also had Tito's, Elijah Craig bourbon, some really good wine, and that was all from Briarwood Wine and Spirits. Briarwood Wine and Spirits, by the way, has Volteo Reposado. We told you about going to Dak Prescott's Super Bowl party the week of the Super Bowl, and it's delicious. But anyway, that's what doesn't that sound great?
I'm just
Akashi Wagyu burger.
As many a times I've been there.
Yeah.
Obviously, my mouth still waters every time I get my plate. But good Lord.
I know.
What is that?
That's putting on a show. And the bread, you would have freaked out as much as you like sweets.
Oh, I've had the bread pudding bites.
Okay.
A bunch.
The bread pudding bites with whiskey caramel sauce.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker for crab as it is, but a good crab cake.
It was this thick.
Yeah.
Like a burger, like a thick burger from a really good local restaurant. Lump crab meat crab cakes with white remoulade sauce and lemon. It's delicious.
That just sounds.
And they've done weddings for 600 people. I mean, they've done the whole thing.
That makes two that I know of, or at least of our partners with crab cakes that are just top notch.
Yeah.
Because you go to Mom and M's, you get that crab cake appetizer, and you're going to be just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is heat.
I like that.
By the way, I'm a fan.
Big crab cake guy, though.
By the way, I'm a fan.
I am.
You big crab guy, though? Like legs?
I do like crab legs.
Do you use
Mudbugs does them, but Wendy does them at the house. When the kids are home, we'll do them, put them out on the island, do the whole, it's just kind of an ordeal, a fun experience. That's why people go get crawfish and shake them all out on the table outside or inside, depending on what's happening. Yeah, I like crab legs.
How do you crack them?
Well, sometimes I do it with my hand, or I got a cracker.
You got a cracker?
Yeah, I mean, she's got a bunch of them in a drawer.
Now, you get that once you get the form down. The hand crack and pull, man.
So this is just like free throws.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You got to have a routine.
Well, all right. You got to have a routine. Germaine Benoit, health coach to the stars, Nourished and Empowerment on Instagram. She is coming to see us at 9:30. Live in studio. You can watch it. Well, we're actually live right now on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. That's our channel. Germaine Benoit will talk cold plunges, vitamin D, the sunshine season, and more. Right here on the Out of Bounds show at 9:30. All right, health coach to the stars, Germaine Benoit, friend of the show. She's from South Louisiana. She may even have a couple of minutes to share on Mardi Gras, right? I mean, she's been a million times, and they know how to do it. Everybody's getting into the Mardi Gras scene. Yeah. I've got some beads in there, by the way, if we want to all put them on for the next segment. I mean, what the hell, right?
You give the people of the United States, but especially the South and especially the Cajuns, a reason to party. Yeah, they're going to take it.
They're going to take it.
And especially more so than the party, days off work.
Absolutely.
If you can get a chance to take a day off work.
She'll have to tell us about what it was like growing up, getting that week off or however
it's
many
a week. They used it used to be.
Yeah, she can share that, but she obviously went to K through 12 in South Louisiana and then went to Ole Miss.
That was the big.
But so I got to know Germaine because they did blondes versus brunettes.
Yeah.
Years ago, charity flag football. And
Great event.
Yeah. It was super cool. And then from there, she got into all this health stuff, Nourished and empowerment. And she comes on and tells us about grounding. And I haven't grounded as much lately, but I did last week. I had to get some in.
Oh, well, this week.
And now with it being warm, you can get out whenever you want, morning, midday, later, right? So you got to do that too. But we'll cover cold plunge, which is crazy how many people are doing it. Vitamin D, sunshine season, maybe a little red light therapy, which I really like. You can do that, core wellness and recovery. But Germaine will join us in the next segment. And good morning. Welcome in. We're the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Mudbugs is open today, by the way. Jackson just asked me about crab legs. Mudbugs is open. They opened yesterday, but they'll be open today through the weekend. Mudbugs at the Res and Mudbugs downtown. So that's super fun. Show is also brought to you by the Jackson Food and Wine Festival. VIP is sold out for Saturday night. There's still general admission tickets for Saturday night. It's at the Mississippi Museum of Art. Wendy and I went last year. It was amazing. Beautiful space where they had it. Well done. They will sell out of the less than 100 GA tickets here before the weekend. And so that leaves you with Friday night's 2 dinners, which are super awesome too. You got a Friday seating at 6 and a Friday seating at 8:30. And so don't miss an incredible dining experience with Chef Chair Nick Wallace and his restaurant, The Hen and Egg. Limited tickets available. Go to JXNfoodandwine.com. JXNfoodandwine.com. And show is also brought to you by the Beau Rivage Casino, the Beau Rivage BetMGM Sports Book and Bar and Grill down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. Good place to hang out and enjoy the weekend. And their sports book is amazing. Super, super fun. It's kind of the back right corner, if that makes sense, as you kind of move through the Beau lobby and then the table games, and you'll cruise to the right, kind of opposite way of BR Prime. I think that makes sense for a lot of you. And the show is brought to you by the Armory, Lake Harbor and Ridgeland in front of Kroger, Firearms, Optics, Suppressors. The Armory, Lake Harbor in Ridgeland in front of Kroger. Let's drop the Gene Hackman stuff. Legendary actor, and he was in a bunch of the reason why. Well, one, you've watched his movies. Two, he did sports movies like Hoosiers, and that's cool for us. That wasn't the old Crimson Tide. Hackman was great for decades. Award-winning, too, actor. But in The Firm, he was awesome, too. One of many John Grisham books that turned into movies, and this is one of his biggest, as you know. And Tom Cruise and Hackman starred in it. And have you watched that movie, Jackson? Are you serious?
I think I know about the movie. I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through. No.
Okay. Well, Hackman was he's a partner in the law firm, and his name is Avery Toller, and Cruise is the dude, right? And they get him out of Harvard or wherever, and it's a Memphis law firm, and it's a hell of you need to watch it. You and Mackenzie would enjoy it. It's fun. It's fast paced enough. You know, there's a lot going on. It's cool. Which one are we going to play? You want to play the long one where he answers why he went to law school?
Yes.
All right. So Hackman and Tom Cruise. Cruise is about to take the bar. Hackman's a senior attorney, charismatic, shady, doing shady stuff offshore for clients, Caymans, all that. They end up down there at some point. And Cruise asks Hackman what led him to law school.
What about you? What led you to law school?
So far back, I don't think I can remember.
Sure you can, counselor.
I used to caddy for young lawyers off from work on weekdays and their wives. I'd look at those long tan legs and just knew I had to be a lawyer. The wives had long tan legs, too. Ellis, another martini, please.
He plays the perfect, mischievous, charismatic, but also filthy lawyer.
Ooh, baby.
But I just loved that answer since I watched it in 93 or 94. I think it's fantastic. So anyway, I think everybody knows people that have lived by that. Yeah. Do you have the other drop? Okay. This is just a few minutes before. This is great. As Hackman and Cruise sit down at lunch, and it's early in the day. It's an early lunch, 11 or 11:15.
Better not win.
Yes, Mr. Toole.
Something before lunch? I should warn you, the firm frowns on drinking during office hours.
Iced tea, please.
Bombay martini on the rocks, Ellis. 3 olives.
On the way.
All right. Maybe that's where I got it from. Now that I think about it, right? I always wondered, was it Dale Murphy or maybe it was Gene Hackman? Because I always order my martini, Tito's martini with 3 olives. Dale Murphy wore number 3, but Gene Hackman just called for 3 olives, which makes him a genius. When you order a martini, you have to have 3, not 2, right? It has to be 3.
There's got to be enough for an appetizer. Right?
Absolutely. God, that's so good. Hackman, what a dude.
By the way, I'm a fan.
Golly. Yeah, you got to watch The Firm, man.
Yeah, you damn right.
You have to. You'd like it.
I think I would. Well, I like those actors, and it's got a good cast. Good Lord.
It does. Really good. All right. Germaine Benoit will join us next. All right. On the Out of Bounds show, we'll talk vitamin D and cold plunges and possibly red light therapy and Mardi Gras, what it was like growing up in South Louisiana. Germaine Benoit, health coach to the stars, coming up next. All right, let's have some fun. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Our friend Germaine Benoit joining us. That sounds like Mardi Gras, doesn't it? Our friend Germaine Benoit joins us live in studio. You can watch the show on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. Her business, Nourished and Empowerment. Also, pharmaceutical rep. Did I have that right?
I am.
Yes.
It's the dichotomy of the two.
And first of all, good morning. Thanks for hanging out with us again.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to see y'all.
You doing good?
I'm really good.
Okay.
Yeah, really good.
Good.
Lots of fires in the iron, or irons in the fire.
Yeah, I know all about that. You're so you told us last time. What's the little town you're from in South Louisiana?
From Houma, Louisiana. It's about an hour south of New Orleans on the bayou.
Mike Detillier talks about that.
Yeah,
the bayou.
that's right. Y'all love Mike here.
Yes. So you're going down
this weekend.
Are you going to Houma or somewhere else?
I'm going to go to Houma for Mardi Gras.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I used to ride back in the day, and interestingly, I actually just resent in my application to ride again. The waiting list is too long, though, so it may be a little moment before I can actually get back in, but it's fun.
Do you remember the first time that you remember Mardi Gras and as a kid and being a part of it?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about it today, driving in, because I was thinking king cakes, and my favorite king cake of all time is a homemade king cake. So when we were kids, my mom and dad and all of their friends' kids were all about the same age, and we'd meet at my friend Mimi's grandmother's house, and Grandma Rosie would make a homemade king cake for us, and so we would all meet at their house, and her house was close enough to the where we could just walk to the parade route where we always stood. And so Grandma Rosie's king cake was my favorite, but it's homemade. So,
and that's all you've ever known is celebrating Mardi Gras. Did you get we were talking about this earlier before you got here. Did y'all get a week off from school?
No.
Or just like a day?
No, this is a new phenomenon to me. I'm
so
like,
this is like the last 10
these
years.
kids, they get off for everything.
A whole week.
Yeah, no, we did not. We got off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday back when I was a kid. And then for Easter, we'd get I think Good Friday and then the Monday after.
Okay.
But that was our week.
We did too, though, growing up. Yeah.
We didn't
Monday,
get
Tuesday,
all this.
Wednesday's not bad, though.
No, we didn't get that.
For Mardi Gras.
Right.
You can't do anything down there. I mean, it is what's going on. Nobody's working. You wouldn't even be able to get anywhere because the parade route is the streets.
Right. Yeah, I was there for Super Bowl week. And
I saw that.
I don't think they've worked down there for the last month or so.
No,
I mean, it's
they have
just been
not.
one big party because there were so many people in town.
Yeah. New Orleans has had a lot going on.
Good grief.
Yeah.
And but it was a ton of fun. All right, so you're celebrating Mardi Gras with your family over the weekend.
Over the weekend, going home.
Okay. And do your sister's kids have a week off?
You know what? I think they get off till Wednesday too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Fat Tuesday?
It's Tuesday. It's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does Houma go big?
Yeah. Houma is at least it was a couple of years ago. I think it still is. It's the second largest Mardi Gras outside of New Orleans.
Really?
That's cool.
It's fun. I mean, they start, there's a bunch of crews now. There's probably 6 or 7 crews down there, and they start 2 weeks before Mardi Gras, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday. On the following, on Mardi Gras week. So,
do your parents still get into it?
Yeah, they do. My dad used to ride.
Yeah.
My mom rode once with us, just to, when my sisters and I. She wanted, to see what that was about.
Do you like throwing the beads?
Yes, I am a bead thrower.
Okay.
There's never enough
I
beads.
should have gotten them out.
There's never enough beads for me. Funny quick story, since we talked about pharmaceutical sales, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but it was years ago.
Nice.
So years ago, I had, pharmaceuticals, we used to be able to give pens and pads and all kinds of things. That got outlawed, I don't know, probably 12 years ago.
Okay.
And that particular year, whatever year that was, by December 31st, everything had to be given out. On January 1st, it was a no-go. So I did my best that I could, but there was so much stuff, I just couldn't get rid of all of it. Anyway, it was sitting in a storage unit, and I am a thrower. I like to throw a lot of beads, and it gets expensive. And so I was like, what am I going to throw? I need more stuff. And I was like, I've got that stuff, and nobody knows me down there. So I brought all kinds of stuff. I had Kleenex boxes. I had surgical scissors. I had
That's awesome.
You know, all kinds of stuff. And anyway,
so it went to good use.
It's regifting at its finest, right?
Germaine is bringing us a king cake from Rouse's next week when she comes back from celebrating Mardi Gras. So that'll be awesome. And Jackson loves sweets.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite king cakes.
Which what I mean?
The Rouse's.
Which kind?
There's a cream cheese one. Honestly, I like just their plain.
Yeah.
It's like a big cinnamon roll. It's good.
When I was down, I stayed in the Marini for Super Bowl week.
Oh yeah.
And there's a coffee shop around the corner, and they did a chocolate king cake.
Was it good?
Yeah, and I don't eat a lot of that, but I got one morning and ate a little bit of it. It was fabulous.
Okay. I don't always love when they put chocolate in my king cake personally. So
right. It was good.
Okay, good.
All right. Let's switch. I could go on and on with this, but we'll switch gears here and talk about some other fun things. Germaine Benoit. So you went to school how many years ago and started this process on the health path?
I've been in and out of school for the past 7 years or 8 years, I guess. So I've gotten several different credentials along the way.
Right.
One, nutritional therapy practitioner, holistic health coach. And then most recently, I finished what was called the Christian Health Nutritionist Program. And it is a really cool deep dive. We dig into quantum biology and deep dive into hormones and blood chemistry. And
so you enjoyed that?
It was awesome.
Okay.
It was a 1-year program. It was intense, but it was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And so you can follow Germaine on Instagram, Nourished and Empowerment. And she's doing all kinds of fun stuff and showing both men and women the way to a better, healthier life. Now, I want to start with cold plunges.
Let's do it.
All right. Where do you stand? Do you do them? When are you supposed to do them? Walk us through the right way to get the most out of a cold plunge.
Okay. So cold plunging its initial benefit is that it is almost a shock to the system. So the body has to upregulate a lot of different hormonal processes to try to keep you warm. And in doing that, the theory is that dopamine and serotonin are released. It can help be a stress reliever. It can help improve your metabolism because of this cold shock. It's also really great for like lymphatic when you do hot, cold back to back because it helps pump your lymph.
Saw that.
Yeah, and which is wonderful. Your lymph is the backbone of your immune system and detoxification. So we really it's really important for us to support our lymph. What I will say too is that, so I love talking about mitochondrial health because that is kind of the key when you drill down to everything.
Right.
We're trying to improve the health of every cell and every mitochondria in the body because then the body can become robust and resilient and mount responses to whatever it is. So with cold plunging, it also is tapping into this mitochondrial pathway that helps upregulate the mitochondria and makes the body more resilient. And there's something called beiging. So what?
How about that, Jackson?
Yeah,
Beiging.
that sounds
is,
like
That's a cool name, by the way.
Sounds
Go
like a
ahead.
place
It
I'd
is.
gamble.
It was one of
Ping-pong.
my favorite topics to learn last year and all this stuff. So we've got white fat. White fat's the fat that we don't really want on our body, right? That's where we start to store excess energy.
Okay.
So, but there's also brown fat, and brown fat is metabolically robust type of fat. So when we are exposing ourselves to a cold plunge or even just walking outside in the dead of winter where you're just kind of having to shiver,
right.
It's a process of called beiging where the body has to work extra hard to try to keep you warm internally. So it taps into your white fat to move it into brown fat. And that process of white to brown is called beiging. Makes sense, right? And that beiging fat, you want to make sure that your body gets cold at least up to the bottom part of your neck.
Okay.
And if you think about it, when you're shivering, you shiver, right?
Yeah.
From this part of your body. That is where you have to get to at least for that like process to actually turn on.
To maximize what you want. Okay.
And the cool thing is, I think this is cool, is that babies are born with brown fat. So you don't ever see a baby shivering. If you actually think about it, babies don't shiver because they're just full of metabolic fat in a great way. Anyway, something cool to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
You want to get at least up to here. The one thing I will say to that is that cold plunging is awesome, but it's also a hermetic stress, which is, it's still a stress on the body. So if someone is like really metabolically dysfunctioning, they're not necessarily sleeping well at night, they're not pooping, their hormones are whacked out, cold plunging is probably too much of a stress on your body in that moment.
Okay.
And so doing that then is actually going to bring you in the wrong direction.
Okay. So how many, if you are functioning right and you can do it, how many days a week would you recommend?
Maybe 3 days a week.
Okay.
I don't think it's something you have to do every single day.
Okay.
But I do think, if you're healthy, you can do that. Doing that 3 days a week is really helpful to the body.
How long do you recommend?
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think anything more than that is worth it. I have done it twice. It's hard.
Good hell.
It's really hard. It's really, really hard. I'm more of like a sauna kind of girl.
Yeah.
But
all right. Well, tell real quick.
Yeah.
Give us the benefits of a sauna.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's kind of the flip end of the cold plunge. It's doing a lot of the same things, but just through different pathways. So it's basically it's expanding your. I think we've talked about this before at some point, but I always say it's positive to be negative.
Yeah.
So we thrive when we're in a net negative state. So we do that through grounding, getting sunlight, and then doing some of this cold plunging and sauna. What that's doing is it's helping expand our battery so that we can take on more electrons to become more negative.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and then of course the sauna is going to help like just really purge toxins that are deep in our fat.
And then what are your thoughts? We're visiting with Germaine Benoit. You can watch the show on YouTube, search Out of Bounds Sports. Follow Germaine on Instagram at Nourished and Empowerment. We talked about red light therapy.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Mm-hmm. Are you a proponent?
I am. I have one. I've had one, I don't know, maybe 5 years now. And I use it sometimes nightly, but at least 3 to 4 times a week. They are, we said this before we started recording, but I actually think every home should have one. Okay. So red light, there are books, you could go on forever. You know, we're talking about mitochondrial health.
Right.
Not to like geek out, and I won't go into it, but if you remember the electron transport chain in like your 3rd grade biology, this is how you start to make energy. You know, these electrons go from thing to thing to thing within the cell. And there's all these different inputs that are happening. And red light is one of those inputs. So in doing that, you're helping the body at a mitochondrial level become more robust.
Okay.
And it helps with healing. It can help
inflammation.
A total full of inflammation. Like if you sprain your ankle or have some kind of sports injury, using red light on that, on that area will speed up your healing exponentially.
Okay, rank all this for me. This is going to be interesting. Germaine Benoit on the Out of Bounds Show, health coach to the stars, which is us, and on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. So if you were ranking getting vitamin D on your body and your face as early as you can in the day.
Yeah.
Grounding.
Uh-huh.
Red light therapy.
Yeah.
Cold plunge. I think that's it.
Yeah.
If you were ranking those.
What's the order?
Yeah.
It's a toss-up between grounding and sunlight.
I thought so.
But you pretty much do those at the exact same time.
And they're free.
And they're free. But I will say there's a caveat to that. So vitamin D cannot be made until midday light. So there's this symphony of different colors and different heat spectrums throughout the day. So that first morning light you want your eyes to see the sunrise.
Right.
I make it a priority pretty much every morning. And because I know that's going to help.
I can't do that with the show. I try a little bit.
I get that.
I can't get out till after 10 a.m.
Well, okay. So, I don't know. We'd have to talk about this like after where we could like put this in. The goal is this. If you can get about 3 to 5 minutes of like first morning light.
Right.
And then within an hour of that is where UVA light starts to come in. UVA light is kind of key. Like if you can only get one, start with that guy.
Mid to late morning is still good.
Yeah.
You'd rather do earlier. Uberman said the same thing. Y'all are right on the same page.
This is part of this whole quantum biology kind of thing. So that UVA light is just signaling so many things in the body. Right. And it's going to set you up for success hormonally, just energetically, sleep-wise, all of it. But so about 10 a.m., depending on the time of the year, to about 2 or 3 in the afternoon is where you have UVB light. And UVB is the only time that you can make vitamin D.
Midday?
Midday.
Roughly.
The only time. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I can do that.
Yeah. The goal, however, is you want to set your body up, if we can, at some point have you walk outside for a little bit about right now, maybe earlier, 8-ish, and get just a few moments of sunlight on your body. It'll set your vitamin D absorption up better for when you do go out midday. Okay.
And you're still a big believer, and after you posted about it a couple years ago, and then I started going down that rabbit hole, when you get out in the sun, especially in a couple of months when you can get out in a bathing suit, you believe even if you're fair like me, first 10 minutes, no sunscreen, and like you who tanned really well, first 20 minutes, no sunscreen, right? Because your body needs to absorb everything you just described.
Correct. However, you set yourself, like if you're just going to go straight out in the middle of the day, even someone who tans really well, you're still setting yourself up for a burn that can cause damage. So that's the beauty of getting the early light. It starts to build what's called like a sun callus on the body, so that your body is like, oh, yeah, the sun's coming. Let's upregulate some of these, the melanin pathways.
And no sunglasses.
No sunglasses.
Yeah. I've totally thrown those out.
Yeah, same. I mean, unless it like looks cute with my outfit.
Sure.
Or if it's really, really bright. I just rarely wear sunglasses now.
I know, I did that. I'm the same way since seeing your post a couple of years ago. All right, so we got a few minutes here. Germaine Benoit on the Out of Bounds show. She's going to celebrate Mardi Gras with her family this weekend, an hour south of New Orleans in Houma on the Bayou. And also health coach, Nourished and Empowerment on Instagram. You can watch the show right now on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. You can also go back and watch it. All right, we got enough time. Let's hit vitamin D versus melatonin.
Okay. So
tell me about that. You texted me that last night. I'm intrigued.
So they're kind of the same side or opposite sides of the same coin, let's say.
Okay.
So melatonin is a hormone, and it's our sleep hormone, right? We want melatonin so that we can go into a deep sleep and the body can rest and repair. Vitamin D is a hormone, even though we call it vitamin D, it actually performs more like a hormone in the body.
Okay.
And it is, so I like to say vitamin D is king in the summer. It's the king hormone of the summer. Melatonin becomes the king hormone of the winter months.
That makes sense.
And there's a lot of new research that actually shows that melatonin will hit the exact same receptor sites that vitamin D hits. So it becomes your vitamin D of the winter. So that if we're living in this perfect starting to really understand the circadian thing and how important it is to our health. In the summer months, we're going to prioritize getting 10 minutes of sun as much as we can throughout the day. Right. So that we're building up vitamin D stores. And as we go into the winter months, the days are going to get shorter and darkness becomes more prevalent to us, correct? Right. So that is where there's a changing of the guards, and melatonin gets to be the guy on the scene and start to regulate some of those same hormonal processes.
That makes sense.
But more from a resting standpoint.
Okay.
And I think it's awesome. I mean, that's what nature does on its own, right?
So melatonin, other than just buying some, I'm sure there's some that's quality and some that's not. Can you give me, and then what's natural melatonin? How does that work?
So with melatonin, again, if we are getting that early morning, that UVA light, which is like
6 to 8 a.m.
But probably it depends. No, you're going to be about like 7:30 to about 9:30, depending on the time of the year.
Okay.
But if you're getting that light, then that is actually setting your melatonin up to start producing at the end of the day.
Okay.
It's sitting all these early morning signals to like get you prepared for night. And melatonin is actually a master antioxidant in our body. So it's cleaning up these, like all the cellular damage. So again, leaning into the darkness, going to bed earlier, blocking blue light at night, because in the presence of blue light at night, it's going to send cortisol up, and then cortisol and melatonin are opposed to each other.
Right.
And so,
which is all of our challenge, looking at our phone at night in bed.
It is.
Okay.
So blue blockers, red blue blockers.
I need to get some of those. I heard Rick Rubin and Uberman talking about them, and I think you posted about it. I got to get some.
They're worth it.
You can tell me where to go after the show, or on Amazon or whatever to do that. Okay. All right. I've got about 30 seconds.
Okay. Oh, well,
no, hold on.
We'll save some more topics for next time.
Oh, can you think of some quality? We got 1 minute. Okay. Is there a quality melatonin that you buy? Is there a brand? If not, we'll post it later.
Let me post it later. To be fair, I don't take melatonin because I try to work on these pathways. The thing is, melatonin taken here and there is great.
Okay.
But if you start to take it every night,
it's not going to.
Well, there's process in the body. So then that area of the body that produces the melatonin is going to start down regulating, because it's like, well, we don't have to work that hard on that process because they're already giving it to us, and then you circumvent all the other parts of that process.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Have a blast in Homa.
Thanks.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Good to see y'all.
Good to see you. Germaine Benoit, Nourished and Empowerment on Instagram, joining us on the Out of Bounds show. Have a good Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow. I guess it'll be a Baseball Friday on the show.